about 70% of Earth is water, which has undeniably become one of our greatest resources. When we were young, we learned about the various ways to conserve water because water is used in almost every important human chores and processes. Water is an essential element in both domestic as well as industrial purposes. However, a closer inspection of our water resources today gives us a terrible shock. Water is now infested with various waste ranging from floating plastic bags to chemical waste, converting our water bodies into a pool of poison. Water pollution is an appalling problem, powerful enough to lead the world on a path of destruction. Water is a natural solvent, enabling most pollutants to dissolve in it easily and contaminate it. The effect of water pollution is directly suffered by the organisms and vegetation that survive in water, including amphibians. On a human level, several people die each day due to the consumption of polluted and infected water. Various sources of water pollution. Groundwater pollution. Groundwater is one of our least visible but most critical natural resources. With rainfall, it becomes groundwater as it seeps deep into the earth, filling up cracks, crevices, and porous spaces of an aquifer, which is an underground storehouse of water. Groundwater is then pumped to the earth's surface for drinking water. Groundwater gets polluted when contaminants such as fertilizers, pesticides, and waste leaching from landfills and septic systems making their way into an aquifer. Once polluted, an aquifer becomes unsafe for humans and remains unusable for decades or even thousands of years. Besides, groundwater can also spread contamination far from the original polluting source when it seeps into streams, lakes, and oceans. Making groundwater free of contaminants can be difficult to impossible, as well as costly. Surface water pollution. Surface water covers about 70% of the earth, filling our oceans, lakes, rivers, and including all blue bits in the world map. Surface water from freshwater sources other than the sea accounts for more than 60% of the water delivered to our homes. As per the Environmental Protection Agency of the US, nearly 50% of our rivers and streams and over 1/3 of our lakes are polluted and unfit for swimming, fishing, and drinking. Nutrient pollution that includes nitrates and phosphates which plants and animals need to grow causes major pollution in the freshwater sources due to farm waste and fertilizer runoff. Municipal and industrial waste discharges and also individuals dumping directly into waterways contribute their fair share of toxins. Ocean water pollution. 80% of ocean pollution or marine pollution originates on land along the coast or far inland. Streams and rivers carry contaminants such as chemicals, nutrients, and heavy metals that are carried from farms, factories, and cities in our bays and estuaries, and from there they reach the ocean. Marine debris, particularly plastic, is blown away by the wind or washed away in storm via drains and sewers. Our seas sometimes get polluted by big and small oil spills and leaks and are also soaking up carbon pollution from the air. The ocean absorbs a quarter of human-made carbon emissions. Point source. When contamination occurs from a single source, it's called point source pollution. Though this pollution originates from a specific place, it can affect miles of waterways and ocean. Point sources include wastewater, which is known as effluent, legally or illegally discharged from a manufacturing unit, oil refinery, or wastewater treatment facility. It can be from leaking septic systems, chemical and oil spills, and also illegal dumping. The EPA, or Environmental Protection Agency, has set limits on what can be discharged by a facility directly into a body of water to regulate the point source of pollution. Non-point source. Non-point source pollution is contamination derived from multiple or diffused sources. This may include contaminated water traveled after rains, agricultural or stormwater runoff, or debris blown into waterways from the land. Non-point source pollution is considered as the leading cause of water pollution, but it's challenging to regulate since there's no identifiable source to blame. Transboundary. A boundary line cannot contain water pollution in a map. Transboundary pollution happened when contaminated water from one country spilled into other countries' waters. It can result from a disaster like an oil spill or the slow downriver creep of industrial, agricultural, or municipal discharge. Causes of water pollution. First, industrial waste. Industries produce a tremendous amount of waste, which contains toxic chemicals and pollutants causing air pollution and damage to our environment and us. They contain harmful chemicals including lead, mercury, sulfur, nitrates, asbestos, and many others. Second, mining activities. Mining is the process of crushing the rock and extracting coal and other minerals from the underground. These elements, when extracted in raw form, contain harmful chemicals and can increase the number of toxic elements when mixed up with water, which may result in health problems. Mining activities emit a large amount of metal waste and sulfides from the rocks, which is harmful to the water. Third, marine dumping. The garbage produced by households in the form of paper, plastic, food, aluminum, rubber, glass is collected and dumped into the sea in some countries. These items take 2 weeks to 200 years to decompose. When such things enter the sea, they not only cause water pollution but also harm animals in the sea. Fourth, accidental oil leakage. Oil spill poses a huge threat to marine life when a large amount of oil spills into the sea and does not dissolve in water. It causes problems for local marine wildlife, including fish, birds, and sea otters. Fifth, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides are used by farmers to protect crops from insects and bacteria. They are useful for the plant's growth. However, when these chemicals are mixed up with water, they produce harmful pollutants for plants and animals. Sixth, leakage from sewer lines. A small leakage from the sewer lines can contaminate the underground water and make it unfit for the people to drink. Also, when not repaired on time, the leaking water can come onto the surface and become a breeding ground for insects and mosquitoes. Seventh, radioactive waste. Nuclear energy is produced using nuclear fission or fusion. The element that is used in the production of nuclear energy is uranium, which is a highly toxic chemical. The nuclear waste that is produced by radioactive material needs to be disposed of to prevent any nuclear accident. Nuclear waste can have serious environmental hazards if not disposed of properly. 8. Animal waste. The waste produced by animals washed away into the rivers when it rains. It then gets mixed up with other harmful chemicals and causes various waterborne disease like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, jaundice, and typhoid.